Welcome back to Sunny Morning. Today we have really good news, right, Elliot?
Yeah, we've got a really amazing topic for you today, and I think it's been in the news a lot in the last few weeks. And Sylvia, tell us a little bit more about today's top story.
Well, we're going to be talking about social media, teenagers, and children. And of course, these really matter to everybody because, you know, there's some goods of it and some really bad things out of it. And we, as parents, we got to be careful with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, knowing what your kids are up to on the internet and when to get involved, when to give them the space, and what can you do? So we're going to be looking at all those angles.
Exactly. So let me start with this topic for today. So social media sites allow things to accomplish online many of the tasks that they are important to them offline. Staying connected with friends and family, making new friends, sharing pictures and exchanging ideas. Correct?
Yes.
And but also offers adolescents deeper benefits that extend into their view of self, community, and the world. And that is very important to them because they can actually expand their horizon, Elliot. So also, social media participation also can offer adolescents deeper benefits that extend into their view of self, community, and the world, including. Because sometimes they are, you know, have some questions about themselves and they start, you know, searching in the internet and find out a lot of the answers. So they have opportunities for community engagement also through raising maybe money for charities sometimes, which is not, teenagers are not really involved with that, but at least they can have the feeling of it sometimes, and you know, they can, at certain point in their lives, they can actually volunteer for local events. Anyway, so they can learn from political events as well, philanthropic situations in general in different places, enhancement of individual and collective creativity through development and sharing of artistic and musical endeavors. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I do. And I know with my children, they're so online, you know, and they're so creative, like you say, especially with music. And, you know, our son, he really is quite specially gifted when it comes to music composition and the internet. He's self-taught in so many things. He's learning Japanese via the internet. He's learned music, you know, and how to read and write and compose music, and then getting into groups. So, you know, I love to encourage that, you know. But he has told me, I mean, not just being a parent, what I thought was great, he's told me himself, there is a dark side to the web, Dad, you know, and I was like, he's really opened my eyes to this. So.
Exactly. Well, yes, actually in a moment we're going to also talk about that.
Yeah.
And, but I would like to make some statement at certain point with adults or parenting with children and teenagers regarding this, because we know we're aware of the benefits. There is something that concerns the parents as well, and that's what I would like to bring that up because parents sometimes get worried that the children, they spend so much time, whether in the internet, cell phones, any of the devices they probably have, iPad, iPod, cell phone, etc.
Yeah.
Or just internet in general, computers, etc. Because of the dark sides that you are talking about, and some other risks that we're going to talk later in the next topic, the next section of this topic, I mean. And so for now, adults, I was saying that they are very concerned that their children spend so much time in these sites. So there is one thing that we have to be clear as parents and as an adults, because our generations, we didn't need internet. We grow without all these items and without all this technology, and it's coming more actually. So we need to be prepared. And right now, children and teenagers, not only they need technology around themselves, it's just a way of living. There's no other way. Like we used to have just a regular telephone in our house or
like
work.
a handset telephone.
Exactly, right? So, and we couldn't live with that because that was our media of communication back then. So now this is a new way, and we have to understand that. However, it's true. on the other side, they cannot just be holding into their cell phone, because it's a real problem. Most of the time, we were talking the other day.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are having lunch or dinner, the whole family together, and everybody is on their on their cell phone testing somebody else, and they're just the presence on the table, but they are not there. And of course,
Everybody relates to
we
that.
gotta bring things to the middle.
Yeah.
And and in the next section, we're going to speak about how or which are the risks that you have to pay attention, including the dark side. So anyway, we have to enhance learning opportunities and access to the health information. Middle and high school students are using social media to connect with one another or homework and group projects. For example, Facebook and similar social media program allow students now to gather outside of class to collaborate and exchange ideas about assignments. Some schools successfully use blogs as teaching tools, which has the benefit of reinforcing skills in English, written expressions, and creativity, accessing health information as well. But anyway, actually, it's true. You were talking about your kid. Like my daughter, same thing in the high school. They don't have Blackboard anymore. Do you know that?
No, they don't chalk and talk anymore.
I was one day to a meeting not long ago, a year ago, and then so I just see this. I thought maybe they will have a video conference, perhaps. And then when I asked my daughter, so are you guys going to have a video conference today or something? And then she looks at me like, where are you from?
Like a techie dinosaur, right? These are
Exactly.
techie teenagers.
And then I said, no, why? And then she goes, well, that's our classroom, Mom. That's our regular classroom. And I said, what is the Blackboard? And then she looked at me really like, I mean, what are you talking about?
As you can imagine the teacher standing with the chalk. But yeah, I mean, a teacher now will assign work from the computer in a group. Basically, they do group assignments and group presentations.
Yes.
Everything is virtual.
And they had to have, as a tool, they don't use books anymore. They have their iPad with all the books, the e-books in there. All the material is e-material now.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I applaud all of that side completely of the internet, you know? And I think, you know, there are advocates who are saying, you know, we rush in too quickly. We see a terrible story, something about an internet-driven crime, and everybody wants to shut down and not allow access. But we have to remind ourselves the internet is an educational tool, and if it's embraced in the right way, it could be so powerful.
Bingo. That's the key. We got to embrace guiding the children to point them, to help them to see, to have the vision to point out of exactly what you just said. Because to use it for creativity purposes, proactively wise, like, well, myself, of course I have Facebook, but I use it just for work, you know, and also sometimes to say hi here and there, but I really don't spend 6 hours in Facebook, because first of all, I don't have that kind of time, and second of all, I just want to be very practical, and for WhatsApp or any other item, same thing. So we gotta teach them and leading them for them to start to learn how to use it into their own benefit, the best benefit.
So I've got a question for you here. I mean, teaching them to use the internet responsibly, all right, and how much time to spend online, and when they should disconnect. I mean, how do you know, we're going to talk about that sort of control side of parenting, but, you know, I see a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but they just seem to be so connected. You can't take their toy or their thing away from them. They're just so connected to them. It's part of their body.
Because also they give you an excuse.
Yeah.
You tell them something like, please stop being in your cell phone so much. Mom, but I'm doing my homework, but I'm talking to a fellow from the school and I'm asking him, you know, about the studies. Does that sound familiar? Right?
Right. Definitely in our household. I love the one that, you know, you got the mum making dinner and she's got this device in the pepper maker, right? And she just twists it and everybody goes offline and has to come rushing for dinner.
Exactly.
They're like, what happened to my social media? I've gone offline. She's like, got this. There's a device you can buy.
Exactly.
Parents, okay? But yeah, you know, it's using some common sense. But you know, where does it end? Where does it begin? What do you think?
in the next section, we're going to precisely speak about when the devices or technology actually would become whether a risk for your children or obsessivity or even an addiction, which is worse.
Yeah.
An addiction, well, there's a difference. Obsessivity and addiction. Obsessivity is when they cannot let go, but when you talk to them and you tell them to do something else, they actually do it. You know, they don't bother so much. But an addiction is when you call them, when you are calling them and they just don't come to you. And then at the end, it's like, oh, they become aggressive. Mom, I'm busy, don't you? And they present anxiety. That's an addiction. It's a different thing.
But you're seeing that showing up, right, in body language.
In body language, and of course, and they look at you like they hate you, more or less. So when that happens, that's an addiction. When they start like getting they just close the door of the room, and that they're into the devices.
Yeah, they go into their own private world.
Exactly, and they don't want to leave, not even for food, not even for showers or stuff. Then, so we're going to speak about that when we come back. So for now, enjoy the commercials, enjoy this break, and when you come back, I have for you some really nice stories. So see you in a moment.